Hey guys, Joel here again. Hope you are doing fantastic. All right, let's hit it. We're going to talk about getting more listings, building momentum before you need it. I remember when I was an agent and COVID hit, everything basically shut down. At that time, of course, I was working in real estate. Suddenly, nobody really knew what was going to happen, and people weren't going anywhere. A lot of businesses just slowed down or shut down. Agents just did nothing. A lot of people just stopped. I remember looking at that situation and thinking to myself, you know what? People are home. It's a great time to call people on the phone and talk to them about the property. So instead of doing nothing, I decided this might actually be a good time to work harder at building inventory and creating that future opportunities. Now, at that time, of course, it didn't look very exciting, right? You could make calls, you could have the conversations, you could follow up. At times, you could meet with people, taking the right precautions, of course, but sometimes nothing happened immediately. But I kept working. I kept just having the conversations, building the relationships, creating opportunities for down the road. By the time COVID restrictions eased in the real estate market, we all know what happened. It really took off after that. At that time, I had built up more than 100 active listings myself. And that's when a lot of the work that had been done earlier started paying off. And that's the point of this video. You need to build momentum before you need the momentum. Some of the work you do today can produce an immediate result. Conversation can turn into an appointment right away. An appointment today could eventually turn into business. It could turn into business today, and that's great. But some of the most valuable work that you're going to do, it might not produce anything for 3 months or 6 months or even a year when COVID stops. You still have to do the work. I'm sharing general business prospecting, sales, and mindset, of course. These principles based on my previous experience in the real estate industry. So if you're a newer agent trying to build a business, here are 7 things I would encourage you to think about. Number 1, build your database. If you're new, you probably don't have thousands of people sitting in your CRM waiting to hear from you. And that's okay. Nobody starts there. So start with the relationships you already have. What relationships do you already have? Your friends, family, former coworkers, business contacts, people from your community, person that walks your dogs, people you've met through networking, people you play tennis with, people you generally know. Then keep building from there. Build that database. The mistake is looking at somebody else's massive database and thinking to yourself, I'll never have that. Forget about what they have. Start with what you have, then add to it every day. Build that database, just one conversation at a time, one prospect at a time, one relationship at a time, one person at a time. That's how a database gets built. And that would be the first thing I would mention to you. Number 2, practice your conversation. One of the biggest things learned from my years in real estate was that confidence usually isn't something you magically wake up with. Confidence comes from preparation and repetition. If you're uncomfortable talking with people, practice. If you're unsure what to say, practice. If you're worried about what someone's going to ask you a question you can't answer, prepare. Role play. Listens to the experienced professionals first. Work on how you communicate. All those things can add up and overcome that call reluctance. Think about the questions people commonly ask. Come up with a list of perhaps objection handlers. Think about, the things you might hear. You don't want to sound like a robot reading a script after all, but you also don't want every important conversation to be the first time you've ever thought about what you're going to say. You might be new. You don't have to sound unprepared even if you're new. Number 3, create conversations. This is probably where a lot of people lose momentum. They spend all day preparing to do business instead of actually doing things that can create business. They organize the CRM, they work on social media, they watch another training video, they study the comparables of a for sale by owner, get caught in analysis paralysis. They change their email signature or work on their branding. And those things, certainly they're needed, certainly they can be useful, but are they habu? Are they the highest and best use of your time? Are they income generating? Are they income producing activities? If you're trying to build a real estate business, you need legitimate conversations with people. That's it. You can talk about AI. I'm going to have AI talk to them or whatever nowadays, and set follow-ups and things like that. I'm telling you what, there is nothing that is going to ever take the place of a human conversation with someone about real estate. There's other prospecting methods that maybe are appropriate for your situation as well. I mean, the exact method is not the point. My point is, are you consistently creating conversations? Because if you're having almost no conversations, it's going to be very difficult to build momentum. Number 4, don't be embarrassed about being new. This is the big one. If you're new, you're new. Don't pretend otherwise. Don't exaggerate. Don't claim experience you don't have. Don't try to make yourself sound like you've been doing something for 20 years when you haven't. Instead, become prepared. Become a student. If you don't know an answer, find the answer. Work hard. Show up. Listen. If you don't understand something, you can learn it. If you need help, ask somebody with experience. There's a massive difference between being new and being careless. A newer person who studies, prepares, and follows through can become very, very effective. You don't waste energy trying to hide where you go. You put that energy into getting better. You prepare your scripts, you plan, and you prepare. Number 5, follow up. This is where the COVID story becomes important. A lot of the conversations I was having back then, it didn't necessarily produce an immediate result, but that didn't mean they had no value. Business doesn't always happen according to your timeline. People's circumstances change and jobs change, families change, finances change. People aren't selling, they're not moving anymore, they're not buying anymore. Their plans can change. Somebody who isn't interested today might have a completely different situation 6 months from now. And that's why follow-up matters. Someone says, maybe later. Okay, stay in touch with that person. Someone says, I don't know, call me in a few months. Okay, call them in a few months. Actually, should call them earlier than that, but put them in your system. So someone isn't ready right now, that's completely fine. Respect that, move on appropriately, but don't assume every opportunity has to happen today to have value. The goal isn't to chase people endlessly, have commission breath, and be all salesy. The goal is to build professional relationships and have a system so legitimate future opportunities don't simply disappear. Number 6, know what's going on around you. You don't have to have decades of experience to pay attention. You can learn, you can study, you can listen to podcasts. There's plenty of stuff out there. Real estate is a proven industry. So pay attention to what's changing. Listen to people who know more than you do and understand the questions consumers are asking as well. Understand what people are concerned about. Study the market every day. What are the new listings, the expires, and things like that. Understand what people are excited about in the market. The more knowledge you have, the better conversations you're going to have. Again, I'm not giving anyone brokerage, licensing, legal transaction advice here. I'm talking about the basic business principles. Know your field. Preparation matters. In almost every business, real estate is no different. Number 7, measure the work that comes before the result. This is probably the point I would emphasize the most. Don't only measure the final result, because the final result can come weeks or months after the work. Hopefully you picked up on that theme in this video. How many meaningful conversations have you had with people today? Or how many new relationships did you create today? How many people did you appropriately follow up with today? How consistently did you work your plan? How many days did you actually do productive business development activity? Those are leading indicators. And that's exactly what I experienced with the COVID example. At the beginning, I wasn't really looking at everything. I was doing and saying, wow, look at all these immediate results. A lot of it was simply work, conversation after conversation, follow-up after follow-up, day after day. But then the conditions changed. The market changed. I was prepared for it. Suddenly, a lot of that preparation momentum, it really mattered. The people that didn't do it, it mattered as well, because now business was going on and they didn't have any business. That's why I believe so strongly in this. Don't wait until you desperately need business to start trying to create business. Build momentum before you need it. Some things you do today, it may create an opportunity today, and that's great. But some of the most important things you do today are planting seeds for months from now, years from now, perhaps. You need both. So if you're new in real estate, don't spend all your time worrying about what you don't have yet. Just take one day at a time, build one relationship at a time, and practice. Create these conversations, prepare, have a great mindset, stay positive in what you do. Follow up, keep learning, and track the activities that you control. Control what you can, right? Your circle of influence. Control the circle of influence. Keep building that momentum, because sometimes the work you're going to do when it feels like nothing is happening is the exact work that's going to put you in a position when everything starts happening. And that's today's agent advantage. So I hope you have a good day. Go ahead, stay positive today, get more listings, and we'll talk to you soon.